What is going on, guys? It's your boy Void here, and today I want to talk about the Roth IRA. So, firstly, what is a Roth IRA? So, in a regular investment account, you can invest in whatever you want, really. It's a portfolio of investments. But a Roth IRA is simply a portfolio of investments that carries certain tax advantages. So, for example, if I had $1,000 and I invested that in a regular stock portfolio account, non-tax advantaged, and I sold that before 1 year of holding that stock, I would have to pay ordinary bracket interest or taxes on it. So for me, that would be 24%. And I would end up pocketing $76 and paying $24 on that $100 of profit. And that's pretty significant. But if you hold it for over a year, then it counts as a long-term capital gain, which still charges you 15% tax. So today I'm going to tell you guys the magic of the Roth IRA, because it lets you retain and just efficiently keep all of your gains because you don't pay any additional taxes, which is absolutely crazy. You retain all $100 of that profit. Cool. So how do you know how do you know if you can open one? Who is eligible? So basically, if you have a social security number or I believe it's the INIT. So if you have either of those numbers, you are basically good to go, with one more stipulation. If you are a single tax filer, and you make less than $75,000, you are eligible. Or if you are filing married and you make less than $124,000, you are eligible. So the Roth IRA has great advantages to it. But of course, whenever there is something this great, there are certain limitations to it. So the first limitation of it is that you can only contribute $6,000 a year until you're age 50. Once you're age 50, you can contribute $7,000 a year. And this is as of 2020. So sometimes they modify this plus minus $500. But it's really good to be able to hit those maximums if you are financially able to, though there is no minimum for this. You can put any amount in the account. You don't have to have $6,000. Another little stipulation about this is, let's say this year, 2020, I contribute $6,000 into my Roth IRA. And say that I make $1,000 on that profit. Well, something happens, maybe I lose my job or I need some extra money, I can pull out that initial $6,000 without any penalty, without having to pay any additional tax on it. The only thing I can't do is pull out that extra $1,000 without paying a penalty. I think the penalty for pulling it out before you are 59 and a half is you pay your tax bracket income tax, which is 24% for me, plus a 10% penalty, which that is a lot of taxes and penalty that you end up paying if you take that penalty. But it's really not that bad, because if everything does go down, at least I have my initial investment that I can pull out at any age. And you can start pulling out those the profits once you turn 59 and a half, because this is primarily a retirement account. Cool. So what exactly can you put in a Roth IRA? Because inside of a normal stock portfolio, a normal brokerage account, I can put anything I want. I can put real estate investment trusts, I can put stocks, I can put bonds, I can put index funds. So what can I do with the Roth IRA? You can do the exact same thing, actually. It works identically, basically. But there are some limitations. For example, if you use something like Robinhood, they are not a brokerage. they do not have Roth IRAs set up at this point in time. So you're going to have to sign up for a Roth IRA through a actual brokerage. All right, so now I want to show you guys what I put in my Roth IRA. Okay, so we are now inside of my Roth IRA, and this is managed through Vanguard. So you'll notice that I have a few funds here. I'm going to start from the bottom just because I'm backwards like that. So this down here, the Vanguard Target Retirement 2060 Fund, this is what they call a target retirement fund, where you specify a date that you want to retire by, and Vanguard will manage this fund as the years get closer to that retirement target date. And it will start off a little more aggressive. So right now, since we're 40 years away from 2060, it's starting off with 90% stocks, 10% bonds, since bonds are a little more secure, but don't grow as much. And stocks are more volatile, but that can be bad for later on, because if it's 2058, I might not be able to have enough time to wait out any volatility that does happen. So that's what this fund is. It has a slightly higher expense ratio for it. So if you click it here, the expense ratio is 0.15, which is slightly higher than some of the other index funds that I have in this account. Normally, if you don't really want to do any research, this might be a good option for you. If you want to do a little more research, save yourself a little bit of money, you can do these individual ones. So VT Sachs, that's going to be a total stock market index fund. It's just going to try to track the total stock market from small companies to large companies and medium-sized companies. It has a slightly less expense ratio at 0.04. So that's fairly significant whenever it comes to your long-term retirement account. So I also have the Total International Stock Index, which just tracks the international broad stock market, and it holds different companies from like Mitsubishi to I'm not even sure. But if I wanted to find out what a specific index fund has inside of it, I could actually just click the fund itself. I could go down to see more information. And then portfolio and management. Cool. So it gives me a little breakdown of what percentage it owns of each different area geographically. So here are the top 10 holdings for this. So these are the top 10 biggest influencing stocks that are within this index fund. So it has a lot of things like Alibaba, Tencent, Nestle, Samsung, Toyota. So this is a really good fund for me because it gives me a little bit more diversification, since my portfolio is so US centric that if something were to happen within the US, this would at least keep me afloat a little bit and make sure that my entire portfolio doesn't just crash at once. Now, sometimes things happen, such as a global pandemic, and your portfolio does go down, and that's okay. You just have to wait it out. Don't sell. Don't panic sell for sure. Consistently buy in. If you have the money to buy in more whenever it is low, and just wait it out. That is one of the best strategies you can have. Cool. So I'm going to go back and show you guys the third one I have, which is VFIX. And this one just tracks the 500 largest companies in the S&P 500. So that's going to be your Googles, your Microsofts, your Facebooks, all those giant companies. So now that we know what we can put inside of it, We know a few good things that might be good to put inside of it, such as an index fund. You can also put in some individual stocks and whatever you really want. I recommend index funds just because they are diverse in nature, since they invest in so many different individual stocks, and you don't have to do that yourself, and they come at such a lower price than if you were to buy each of those stocks that it has individually. So now that we kind of know what's good to put inside of a Roth IRA, we know its advantages, and we know how much we can contribute if we're eligible. How do I pick where to get a Roth IRA? Where does it come from? So I chose Vanguard as my brokerage. The reason to that is Vanguard has some of the lowest expense ratios. And that means that if I hold VTIX, it's costing me an expense ratio of 0.11. So this is how much Vanguard takes out of my earnings per year. And it's just how the company makes money, basically, on your profits. So these are really low expense ratios, especially if you look at other companies. So the top 3 most popular Roth IRA brokerages are Vanguard, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab. Mostly because they offer the lowest expense ratios in the industry, and they also offer a lot of reliability, and each of them has their own specific features to them that makes them slightly above the rest of the competition. So I would recommend opening one with any of those 3. So before I let you guys go, this part is important. I want to show you guys a little bit of the math. If we currently had $0 invested and we contributed $6,000 annually, which is the maximum for a Roth IRA, and we were 30 years old, and we wanted to retire at 60, so we had 30 additional years to grow at a conservative 7% interest rate, because stocks on average grow about 10%, so 7 is being conservative. We're making $606,438. That's how much we're going to have total. Now, if we calculate how much we invested over that time, we invested, let me open the calculator here. Oops, got some old math. Okay, so we're going to say 6,000 times 30. We contributed 180,000 to that 606,438. So now we can say 606,438 minus, I'm going to round that to 100. Oh wait, that's just 180. So we minus 180,000. This is how much profit we have. If we had to pay long-term capital gains tax, which is 15% on this number, we would be paying $63,965 in taxes. And that's so much money. If you just make a Roth IRA and put the money in that account instead of using a regular brokerage, you're effectively saving yourself $63,000, basically $64,000 over 30 years if you're age 30. Now, this could be even more if you're under age 30 or you already have some money invested. So please, 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 please look into opening a Roth IRA, and the math speaks for itself. That's why I show you guys this math part. So if this helped you at all, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.